The sun shone brightly over London, illuminating every corner of Hyde Park and creating a perfect atmosphere for a stroll. I walked hand in hand with Tom, my boyfriend, as the scent of flowers and the chirping of birds enveloped us. He looked so charming that day, with his contagious smile and eyes sparkling with joy. It was one of those moments when everything seemed perfect, as if the world around us couldn't interfere with our happiness. Have you thought about where we're going to spend our next vacation? I asked, trying to envision a future together. Tom turned to me, his expression thoughtful. Actually, yes. I was thinking about Greece. Just imagine, white sandy beaches and that blue sea. It would be amazing. I smiled, picturing us lying under the warm sun, laughing and having fun. I would love that. We could explore the islands, try the local food, and who knows, maybe even join a traditional festival. Oh, you always dreaming big. But I like that. We'll make it happen, Sarah. I promise we will. We chatted excitedly, discussing what we would like to do and the places we dreamed of visiting. It was a moment of connection, where the future seemed bright and full of possibilities. But as we walked, a shadow of unease began to form in my heart, although I didn't yet know why. After a while, we decided to sit on one of the benches in the park. The warmth of the sun was pleasant, and the gentle breeze made everything even more perfect. While we shared an ice cream, I noticed something on the bench next to us. It was a crumpled piece of paper. Curious, I leaned to pick it up while Tom continued talking about a new movie he wanted to see. "Look at this," I said, holding the note. "It seems someone left a message." Tom shot me a curious glance. "What does it say?" "I don't know yet. I'll read it later." I tucked the note into my bag, feeling a slight agitation. Something told me it was more than just a simple message. After a few minutes, we got up to continue our walk. The note lingered in my mind, but the joy of Tom's company made me temporarily forget that little intrigue. When I got home, the normal routine welcomed me, but the curiosity about the note wouldn't let me be. It was like a small voice in my head insisting that I read it. I sat down on the couch, took a deep breath, and pulled the paper from my bag. What could be so important that someone would leave it there in the park? Carefully, I unfolded the paper and read the message. "Beware of Tom. He is not who you think he is." The words seemed to echo in my mind, each letter hitting my heart like a blow. I couldn't believe what I was reading. My perfect world began to crumble, and doubt settled in my chest like a dark shadow. No, it can't be true. I murmured to myself as images of Tom and me together filled my mind. He had always been so caring, so attentive. How could there be something hidden beneath this facade of love? I got up and started pacing back and forth in the living room, my mind racing. This doesn't make sense. Who could have written this? And why? The questions spun in my head, and anxiety grew with each passing second. I needed answers, but the thought of confronting Tom terrified me. What if it's true? What if he really is cheating on me? The memories of the happy moments we had together now seemed shrouded in a fog of distrust. I decided I needed time to think. But as night fell, a sense of unease wouldn't leave me in peace. The note was there, a constant reminder that not everything is as it seems. Doubt began to eat away at my heart, and I knew that from that moment on, nothing would be the same. The morning after receiving the note was dark, as if the sun had decided to hide behind heavy, gray clouds. I sat at the kitchen table, the steaming cup of coffee in front of me, but I couldn't take a sip. My mind was too occupied with what I had read. The note was still tucked away in my pocket, like a shadow following me with every move. "Sarah, are you okay?" Emma asked, entering the kitchen. She noticed my somber expression and approached, concerned. "You look pale." I found a note yesterday," I replied, my voice trembling. "It says Tom might be cheating on me." Emma frowned, a look of disbelief crossing her face. "That can't be true. I know Tom. He would never do something like that." "That's what I want to believe," I murmured, looking out the window. The leaves on the trees danced in the wind, indifferent to my emotional turmoil. But what if he's hiding something? What should I do, Emma? She sat down in front of me, holding my hands. You need to talk to him. Ask him directly. Don't let doubt consume you. But what if I discover something worse? I asked desperately. What if he really is cheating on me? Then you'll know the truth, Emma replied firmly. And the truth is always better than living in uncertainty. Her words resonated in my mind, but doubt still consumed me. I looked at Emma, seeking comfort, but saw concern in her eyes. The conversation continued, but the seed of distrust had already taken root in my heart. Determined to uncover the truth, I began to watch Tom more closely. In the following days, I paid attention to every little detail: how he held his phone, the messages he quickly deleted when I entered the room. Every gesture became a clue to a puzzle I couldn't seem to piece together. Why have you been so distracted lately? Tom asked one night as we watched a movie at home. His gaze was curious, but there was a hint of worry. Oh, I'm just tired from work, I lied, forcing a smile. And you, how was your day? He smiled back, but the spark in his eyes wasn't the same as before. Something inside me twisted. What was I doing? With each passing day, distrust grew like a shadow, and I knew I needed to take action. One night, driven by the need for answers, I decided to follow him. My heart raced as I hid around a corner in the neighborhood, watching him leave the house. He headed to a bar I knew well, a place frequented by friends. The tension in my stomach increased with every step he took, and the idea that he might be meeting someone else put me on high alert. It can't be anything too serious, I murmured to myself, trying to calm down. Maybe he just wants to have fun with friends. I entered the bar, the loud music and flashing lights surrounding me. My eyes quickly found Tom, who was surrounded by a group of friends. He seemed relaxed, laughing and chatting. But then, a woman approached him. My heart stopped for a moment. I couldn't see her face, but the way she leaned in toward him, the way their laughter sounded so intimate, made my stomach churn. Sarah, are you okay? A familiar voice interrupted my thoughts. It was Emma, who was with a group of friends from work. She looked at me with concern, and I forced a smile. Yeah, I'm just observing, I replied, trying to mask the tension in my voice. You shouldn't be here, she whispered, but her sentence was interrupted by an explosion of laughter from the other side of the bar. I couldn't help myself. The curiosity and the pain were unbearable. With my heart in my throat, I continued to watch Tom and the woman. They seemed to be having fun, and with each laugh I heard, the hurt intensified. What was happening? Why wasn't he telling me about this? That night would be a turning point. I needed to know the truth, and I was willing to find out at any cost. I sat in a dark corner of the bar, my hands trembling slightly around the glass of water I had ordered, but I didn't have the courage to touch it. The atmosphere was hectic, loud music and laughter echoing, but all I could see was Tom. He was there, in the midst of a group of friends, but his attention was focused on an unknown woman beside him. My heart began to race, and a feeling of betrayal washed over me, as if a sharp blade were cutting through my chest. This can't be real, I murmured to myself, trying to ignore the little voice that was starting to scream in my mind. I didn't want to believe he could betray me, but the image of him laughing and leaning closer to the woman seemed to confirm all my insecurities. My mind was in a whirlwind. I needed to understand what was happening, but the idea of confronting him there, in that moment, left me paralyzed. Sarah, are you okay? Emma, my best friend, gently pulled me out of my thoughts. She was sitting next to me, her concerned gaze analyzing me. No, I'm not okay. What I'm seeing doesn't make sense, I replied, my voice trembling. He's so close to her. You don't know what's happening. It could just be a conversation between friends. Emma tried to calm me, but her words felt empty. Just friends? Look at the way he looks at her. No, Emma, this isn't just friendship, I retorted, frustration rising in my throat. At that moment, I decided I needed answers. I stood up abruptly, and Emma followed, worried. Sarah, wait. What are you going to do? She grabbed my arm, but I was determined. I'm going to talk to him. Enough with the doubts and insecurities, I declared, taking a deep breath to fill myself with courage. I walked towards the table where Tom was, feeling each step take an eternity. Tom, I called out, trying to control the tremor in my voice. He turned, and a smile formed on his face, but upon seeing me, his expression shifted to confusion. Sarah, what are you doing here? He stood up, but I didn't let him come closer. Who is she? I asked, pointing at the woman sitting next to him. The woman smiled back, but there was nothing friendly about her smile. This is Lucy, Tom replied, his voice lower than I expected. She's a childhood friend. Childhood friend, is it? I couldn't hide the sarcastic tone in my voice. It looks like you two are very close to just be friends. It's not what it looks like, I swear. He seemed nervous, his hands moving in a gesture I knew well, the one he made when he was trying to convince me of something. I love you, Sarah. You know that. Love? Then why didn't you tell me she was here? Why didn't you introduce me? The questions poured out uncontrollably, and I couldn't stop. I didn't think it would be a problem. We were just talking about old times. He tried to justify, but I couldn't listen anymore. Old times? Or were you planning to cheat on me? My voice was loud now, drawing the attention of others. The embarrassment grew like a snowball. Sarah, no. It's not like that. He moved closer, but I recoiled. Don't come near me, I said, pain and anger mixing. I don't trust you. I left the bar without looking back, the scene of Tom and Lucy etched in my mind like a film on repeat. What would I do now? What did this mean for us? Questions swirled like a whirlwind, and the only thing I knew was that I needed answers. And if she was just a friend, why did my heart still hurt so much? I decided I needed to investigate more about Lucy. If Tom was hiding something, I would find out. The feeling of betrayal still burned, but determination was growing inside me. I wouldn't rest until I understood the truth, no matter how painful it might be. With my mind swirling in confusing thoughts, I decided I needed to find Lucy and confront her. The cafe I chose was cozy, with light wooden tables and the aroma of fresh coffee filling the air. When I entered, I spotted Lucy sitting in a corner, looking thoughtful while stirring her cup. She seemed so different from the image that came to mind when I saw her with Tom. She was just a woman, a childhood friend, but my heart raced with anger and insecurity. Hi, Lucy, I said, trying to keep calm in my voice, but feeling each syllable was loaded with tension. She looked up, surprised to see me. Sarah, what are you doing here? We need to talk, I replied, pulling out a chair and sitting down across from her. About Tom. Lucy frowned. About Tom? What exactly do you want to know? I saw you with him at the bar. What's going on between you two? I questioned, trying to disguise the vulnerability that was creeping into my voice. Look, Sarah, I don't know what you saw, but there's nothing between us. We're just childhood friends. He never told me you were in his life, she said. The sincerity in her voice was almost palpable, but doubt still lingered over me. Then why is he acting strange? He's been different, and I received an anonymous note that made me question everything, I said, feeling tears threatening to spill. He hasn't been the same. Lucy looked down, as if weighing her words. I noticed he's been distant too. Sometimes he seems to be carrying a weight on his shoulders, but I don't know what it is. The sincerity in her words made me hesitate. Could there be more to this story than I imagined? You don't know anything? He never told you he was worried about something? I asked, frustration starting to seep into my voice.
No, Sarah.
If I knew anything, I would tell you. But I really don't know what's happening with him, Lucy replied, her expression one of genuine concern. I just want to understand. I feel like I'm losing trust in him, and it's tearing me apart, I said, my heart opening up. Have you ever been through something like this? Lucy hesitated for a moment, then admitted. Yes, once. It was a relationship I had. Trust is everything, and when it's broken, it's hard to regain. She looked me in the eyes, as if searching for a connection. But you have to let Tom speak. Sometimes, things aren't what they seem. Those words echoed in my mind, leaving me more confused than before. What did I really know about Tom? What was he hiding? Before I could respond, the noise of the cafe around us seemed to increase, and the pressure in my chest intensified. Thank you for being honest with me, Lucy. I just hope this doesn't end in pain for anyone, I said, already starting to get up. But as I left, a feeling of unease accompanied me. Something was wrong, and I felt that the truth was still hidden in the shadows. When I got home, my heart still racing from the conversation, I was met by a silence that felt suffocating. The living room light was on, and as I entered, I noticed something strange on the coffee table. A new note was there, next to a cup I had left behind. My heart raced. With trembling hands, I picked up the note. The handwriting was similar to the first one, but the message was much more threatening. Stop investigating, Sarah. You're playing with fire. The consequences will be severe. Fear gripped me, and I felt as if I was being watched. That note was a warning, and the idea that someone was following me, or that Tom could be involved in this, left me paralyzed. I needed to know the truth, but with every step I took, it felt like I was approaching an abyss. What should I do now? The pressure in my mind grew, and the confusion became a labyrinth with no exit. I couldn't just ignore the note, but the idea of delving deeper into this investigation filled me with dread. What else could I discover? And, more importantly, who could I really trust? Sitting on the living room sofa, the anonymous note in hand, anxiety coursed through my veins like poison. The yellowed paper felt like it was burning between my fingers, and I knew I needed to share everything with Emma. The friendship we had built over the years was my safe haven, and I needed her wisdom, even as everything around me seemed to be crumbling. Emma, can you come here? I need to talk to you, I said, trying to hide the tremor in my voice. She answered the call quickly, and when she entered, I noticed something different in her gaze. It was as if she was carrying a weight she wasn't willing to share. What happened, Sarah? She asked, her tone of concern not quite fitting. I received another note, I replied, handing it to her. This time, it's much more threatening. It says I need to stop investigating, or the consequences will be severe. Emma read the note, her expression shifting from curiosity to apprehension. This is serious, Sarah. You can't ignore this. Maybe it's better if you stay away from it. Stay away? Emma, you know I can't do that. I need to know the truth about Tom. And speaking of him, do you remember that night when you two met secretly? She hesitated, her features contorting into a mix of confusion and discomfort. It was just a friend's meeting, Sarah. There's nothing to it. But why didn't you tell me? I'm your best friend, Emma. This doesn't make sense. Frustration rose in my chest, and I found myself struggling against the wave of emotions threatening to overflow. Because I knew you would react like this. I thought it was better, she began, but I interrupted her. Better what? Better to hide the truth from me? I can't trust anyone now, and you're acting strangely too. What's going on? Silence settled between us, and I felt the tension was about to rupture the thin layer of trust that still remained. Emma avoided eye contact, her nervous hands playing with her hair. It's not that, Sarah. I just fear what you might discover. Fear? Fear of what? Exactly? At that moment, a memory hit me like lightning. I remembered a detail I had ignored. The way Emma looked at Tom that night, as if there was a connection between them that I had never noticed. A chill ran down my spine, and the idea that my best friend might be involved in this mess left me even more distressed. Emma, if you know something, please tell me. I can't handle this alone. I can't sit here wondering if you're hiding something from me too. She took a deep breath, seeming to struggle against her own emotions. Sarah, I'm not hiding anything. I just want you to be safe. And Tom, he's a good guy. He wouldn't do anything to hurt you. Do you really believe that? I asked, incredulity dripping from my voice. Because with each passing day, I feel like he's pulling away from me. And now, with this note, I don't know who to trust. At that moment, my phone vibrated on the table, breaking the tense silence that surrounded us. The screen lit up the room, and when I looked, I saw it was a call from an unknown number. My heart raced. Sorry, I'll take this, I said, getting up quickly. Sarah, that's not a good idea, Emma warned, but I was already pressing the green button. Hello, my voice trembled, but I couldn't show weakness. Sarah, you need to hear this. Tom and Lucy are meeting right now. If you want to know the truth, go there. The world around me crumbled in an instant. What was this? A trap? Or a chance to finally uncover everything? I looked at Emma, who was pale as if she had seen a ghost. Emma, I need to go, I murmured, already heading for the door. Sarah, wait. Don't do this, she shouted, but I was already determined. The truth was waiting for me, and I could no longer hide. Anger and pain burned inside me as I hurried toward the meeting place. My heart pounded in my chest, and each step brought me closer to the truth I feared. As soon as I arrived at the bar, I hid in a dark corner, watching the scene before me. Tom and Lucy were sitting at a distant table, their voices raised in a tone that revealed the tension in the air. You don't understand, Lucy. I can't let this get out of control, Tom exclaimed, his expression tense and worried. I shrank back a little, trying to hear every word. But you can't just ignore it. He won't stay quiet forever. What you did, this could ruin everything. Lucy replied, her voice heavy with urgency. I felt a cold knot in my stomach as I realized they weren't just discussing our relationships. There was something deeper and more disturbing between them. As they continued to talk, my heart sank. Tom had never been faithful to me, but what I was hearing now was even more devastating. I did this to protect you, Sarah. If I tell the truth, you'll be in danger, Tom said, and the mention of my name made my body tremble. What exactly was he hiding from me? The adrenaline coursed through my veins, and in a moment of desperation, I decided I couldn't just stand there listening. With courage, I took a deep breath and approached the table. What's going on here? My voice came out firm, but there was a tremor I couldn't control. Both of them turned, surprised. Tom looked stunned, while Lucy had a look of guilt in her eyes. Sarah, I can explain, Tom began, but I didn't want to hear any more excuses. You can't just deceive me, Tom. I heard everything. What are you hiding? What kind of secret involves even Lucy? I was furious, and the words spilled out without filter. Lucy looked at Tom, hesitating. Sarah, it's not what you think. It's not just a betrayal. There's something much bigger at stake here, she said, her voice now softer but still filled with concern. Bigger? What do you mean? Confusion began to consume me, and I didn't know who to trust. The tension at the table was palpable. Tom seemed to want to protect me, but from what? The silence that followed was filled only by our heavy breathing until, suddenly, an unknown man appeared, interrupting our confrontation. Tom, you shouldn't be here, the man shouted, his imposing presence making us all step back. Sarah, you don't know what's going on, he continued, looking directly at me.
Tom isn't cheating on you.
He was trying to protect you and your friends from something much more dangerous. Who are you? I asked, my voice now trembling with fear and confusion. What do you know about Tom and about me? My name is Jack, he said, his gaze determined. And what Tom did was for you. There are people after you, and he didn't want you to get hurt. You need to understand that the betrayal you imagine isn't about love, but about survival. The world around me began to spin. What he was saying made no sense. How could this be true? I looked at Tom, who was pale and speechless, and then at Lucy, who now had tears in her eyes. What's happening? I asked, a growing desperation within me. I promised you I would never let anything happen to you, Sarah. Tom finally spoke, his voice low and heavy with emotion. This isn't about Lucy and me. It's about something much more serious. I can't believe you, I said, the pain suffocating me. You left me in the dark. Is all of this just a game to you? Jack intervened. You need to listen to what he has to say, Sarah. The truth will be revealed, but not here.
Not now.
They're watching. Confusion engulfed me like a fog. I was surrounded by secrets and lies, and the only thing I knew was that my life had changed forever. The betrayal I feared wasn't just about love, but about trust, friendship, and something much deeper. Now, more than ever, I needed to know the truth.